So it was fascinating to watch, and it would have been interesting for Addy because it would have been a complete departure from the script, but it energises the room. Whatever you think about Eubank,
Sure.
and the fact he baits and switches his way through life, he does. I'm going to fight for a world champion, he fights nobody. He baits and switches, but everyone goes. Because Eubank walks into a room, in comes charisma.
He lights it up. As soon as I saw him at the presser, I didn't know he was going to be there. I thought maybe, because Chris does this thing of sometimes turning up, sometimes not turning up. As soon as I saw him, I was like, this is going to be interesting because he makes it about him. It wasn't about Bivol, Bivol all of a sudden, the biggest undisputed light heavyweight fight we've seen in years, maybe ever. It was about Chris Eubank Jr. and his beef with promoters. I found it fascinating. Awkward at the time, but looking back and watching it, I actually kind of.
Did you want to burst out laughing?
I wanted to burst out because I saw Frank. It's funny because
you could hear it first.
he couldn't hear.
Yeah.
Someone should have given him the ears of it.
I can't hear you. Speak up.
And all he heard was the word scup name, but he couldn't quite put the rest of it together.
That all right.
So I was looking at him and I was thinking, if Frank was 20 years younger, he's getting down off that chair immediately. But it was funny to see Frank's reaction. Eddie was pretty cool. And obviously, Callum wasn't there, and Ben was hoping to get the G up he got, but Frank was livid. So it was interesting.
Andy, before we hit this break, I've got to ask you, Bivol better be here. Who wins it?
Heart says Bivol, head says better be a 20. He doesn't. You know, very quickly, they both were in the same Russian national team. Better be was a senior, Bivol was a junior. Better be definitely beat up with Bivol in sparring. And that 100%.
Better be a fight Usyk.
He did fight Usyk. They're one. Sorry, they fought in the Olympics, the World Championships. Yeah,
right.
So that shows how good Better be is.
Yeah.
He's 39, but he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he lives the life. So he's really like 35, really good to plug him into a machine. This is going to be an incredible fight. Number 1 versus number 2. I love being able to edge to Better be just.
What are you thinking? Say. Okay.
Wardrobe need a little update? Time for vintage. Buy from someone who has exactly what you're missing. Find a fresh look on Vinted this season. Want it? Buy it on Vinted. Download the app.
When it comes to folding wraps, we've seen it all. The traditionalist. Been to Mexico once, now loads and pointers. The careful crafter. No disruptors. A hopeful overloader. Piles, fillings high, then even higher. Others optimism. The one folder. Simple. No time for anything else. The wrap hacker. Always chasing the next food trend. The beloved bundler. Not really sure how to wrap, but tries the best. However you wrap mission your way.
The science of boxing for separation from the others. I'm not staying up thinking about these guys.
Why not? Well, you've got some intensity that you've got. If you're going to say that somebody has been lying and cheating their way through the industry for 20 years, you better have some hard backing of that to be able to support it, which is why I want to grow back from it.
I think the man who holds the purse strings never got on the phone
and
said, lads, stop messing about. We've got a blockbuster card in 2 weeks' time. That's what I want the focus to be on. You know, we're used like chess pieces on a chessboard. These guys are controlling our lives.
I'd call them an innocent because I simply can't read. But you've heard Tokyo Alashek talk about future boxing leagues. When you look at it as a fighter, what's your immediate reaction?
100%.
You like it?
I love it. Just rock up, fight, and go on.
Welcome to episode 89 of Talk Boxing with Simon Jordan. Spencer Oliver is on the other side of the Atlantic, so I'm joined by one of the best voices in boxing, Adam Cashel. Nice to see you, mate. And also, I'm joined by the real and IBF Cruiserweight Champion of the World, pound-for-pound contender, Jai Pataya. Nice to see you, John.
Nice to be here, bro.
Welcome. Nice to see you. October the 12th, you've got a fight coming up against our own Jack Massey. What's your view on that?
And I'm expecting a tough fight from Mason. Massey's he's a durable opponent. He's tough as nails. Got a good engine. I'm expecting 12 rounds of war. But
I think as a fight, it's the one that makes the most sense. Because you've been making a lot of noise, obviously, haven't you, for communications, and they can't be made at this particular time. Hopefully, in the not too distant future, we're going to see those three fights as well after. So I think Jack's absolutely an opportunity last time out becoming European champ. We've even seen him step up at heavyweight, haven't we? times as well. He fell short, don't get me wrong, but he had a really good goal there out of the weight class. And I think he gave him the opportunity to have a crack at the number one cruiserweight in the planet.
It must be an interesting one because there is an observation. I mean, there is a perception that you're the monster of the division. I think we universally talk about you in that respect, and that's not diminishing Crispin and Smith, our own Crispin and Smith, and any of the other champions in that weight class. But in recent times, with the exception of Breeders, some of the opposition you've gone up against, there's been a little bit of criticism and pushback that they aren't at your level. Now, how do you feel when you hear that? Because the expectations of you are big, because you look the part, you go in there, you do the business, you come with menace. But when you're fighting fighters with respect like Elisor or Jordan Thompson, there's going to be this conversation about levels. And there might be this conversation, with all due respect to Jack Massey, despite his win against Isaac Chamberlain, that again, we're talking about this pound-for-pound potential candidate going in against opposition that's perhaps not on his level.
Man, to be honest, I don't really listen to the outside noise. But if these boys aren't ready now, they're never going to be ready. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like I'm trying to pick easy fights. I just fight whoever they put in front of me. You know, they give me a date. I've been chasing these unification fights. Unfortunately, they haven't happened. So, you know, whoever's on the other side of that ring, that's all we're going to beat.
In your last fight, I think there was a lot of people that, especially with the start, expected you to make perhaps more hay in the fight in terms of overcoming it easier than it looked like. And I'm not suggesting that Maris Breeders is something you can overcome easy, but I felt that you didn't look as good as I expected you to look. Now, I'm not trying to be controversial and get up your nose. I'm just being quite blunt. I don't know what you think, Adam. If you want to jump in, I'll jump in. You carry on in case I get the death stare. But I looked at it and thought, that surprised me in the second half of the fight. What was your takeaway from that fight?
You know, I feel like it was a great learning fight for me. You know what I mean? I feel like there was a few mistakes made. You know, but this is what creates progress. You know, I feel like a whole better version of myself since that fight. You know, it takes people a loss to learn what I learned in that fight. You know what I mean? But I got to learn it, and I got the W. So it's all positive in my life.
What did you learn?
Just a few mistakes that will make it. You know what I mean? We've changed coaches. Not like there was anything wrong with my old coach, but you know, even you talking about, you know, demolishing the first couple, you know, pay fighters, I think that got to my head a bit. You know what I mean? I wanted to, then I stopped boxing. You know, my boxing ability, my IQ, I'm born a box. You know what I mean? I had my first fight at 8 years old. I come from a fourth generation of boxers on my father's and a third of my mum's. So the science of boxing is what separates me from the others. You know what I mean? I didn't stumble across this sport. You know, like, I walked into a gym and, I like this sport. I was born and raised.
Did you want to put a show for themselves? Was it that part of the thinking?
Exactly. Yeah, that. But I think the way I sort of beat Thompson and then the way I beat Zoro, you know, and the excitement, and, you know, everyone wanted to see the knockouts. I think I sort of focused too much on chasing those power punches and putting on those shows. And with Breeders, you can't do that against, you know, I feel like a lot of people are sort of undermining him. You know what I mean? I feel like I grew up watching Breeders, you know, like I come up through the rankings and Breeders was the top of the cruiserweight division. Winning that Ali trophy, I remember being, you know, watching him thinking, I'm going to make it there one day. You know what I mean? So to share the ring with him is a learning progress in its own. And to be honest, I still think he beats any other belt holder.
I love that. Yeah, I love the way that you were speaking about, obviously, maybe getting a little bit carried away, obviously, with the knockouts and what have you on the early Riyadh season, and appreciating what Maris Brady says, because as you rightfully said, we're talking about a guy that was the number one in the division. He was the ring magazine champion. That's what you obviously get snapped up the belt from, because you beat him the first time around. Go and watch Bracey's fight with Usyk in the first World Boxing Super Series. It's a majority decision. He pushes him all the way. He then goes and collects all the belts in the second season of the World Boxing Super Series. We're talking about an elite fighter, and maybe as fight fans, we looked at his age, we looked at his time out the ring, and all those types of things, and maybe thought to ourselves, well, he's going through it first time round with a broken jaw. He's going to absolutely smash it against the second time round, and maybe fight fans got carried away with that. I thought, listen, we're talking about elite fighters. You navigate through, you get through, you've got victory, and now it's hopefully bigger and better things, because as you're alluding to there, the biggest fight is to be, for me anyway, looking at it, maybe I'm a little bit biased because I'm British, is this man against Chris Billon-Smith. And if Chris Billon can come through his fight with Daniel Ramirez, which is, you know, could be a tough fight for him, but if he comes through that, we're talking about a big unification, which I know that you're excited about.
Definitely. I am excited for these fights, but Jack Macy has my full focus. You know what I mean? I am not looking past this fight. I know this is going to be a tough fight. Those fights will come when they come, but you know, 12th of October, I'm locked in.
Do you think there's any possibility? It's been mooted. I don't know if it's in your mind. I know you're saying you're locked in on this fight, so you should be. Do you think there's any possibility that Chris Billon-Smith is avoiding it?
Hey, you know, I got nothing personal against Chris Billon-Smith. I don't even know the bloke. You know what I mean? Like, all I chase is belts. You know, people want to hear me call out names and make it a personal thing between me and another fighter. It's nothing personal to me. I don't care who has the belt.